When you walk alone, you discover what most never will the voice within that never lies. People fear solitude because it strips them of excuses. When there's no one to blame, no one to lean on, you meet your real self, and that meeting changes everything. Success begins when you stop asking for complimenti or any and start demanding results. Every great achievement was born in silence, in nights when no one clapped, and mornings when the world still slept. You must become so focused that distractions feel like insults. Every doubt must be crushed under the weight of your purpose. You don't need applause and TRs, and you need progress. You don't need sympathy, you need action. When you walk alone, walk with fire in your eyes and iron in your spine, because the truth is, those who can win alone become unstoppable when others join them. The world doesn't respect noise, it respects results. And results come to the O-20R knee who dares to stand alone, fight alone, and win alone. Isolation is not weakness, it's the furnace where real strength is forged, the silent battlefield where warriors are made and pretenders are exposed. When you are alone, there is no mask left to wear, no audience to impress, no hand to pull you out of your own storms. It's just you, your fears, your doubts, and the raw truth about who you really are. Most people run from this place because it's uncomfortable. It forces them to face their limitations, their laziness, their lack of control. But the few who embrace it, the few who stay in T-bar and hat silence long enough, come out unshakable. Because isolation doesn't destroy you, it rebuilds you. It melts away weakness and forges resilience, discipline, and vision that cannot be broken by opinions, rejection, or failure. When you walk alone, you stop. Pretending, you stop. Performing for the crowd and start performing for your destiny. You stop waiting for motivation and start creating it within. This is where real power begins. Power that doesn't need validation. Power that doesn't crumble when no one believes in you. Every champion, every great thinker, every visionary who changed the course of history faced the same test, the test of solitude. Alone in the dark, they built clarity, direction, and strength that crowds could never give. When no one calls, when no one checks, when no one claps, those are the moments that define you. Will you still move forward? Will you still train, still build, still push, even when the world goes silent? That's when you know if your dream is real. Because if your motivation dies without witnesses, it was never strength, it was performance. The real ones don't stop because they're alone. They move even faster. They work even harder because the Diddy-Guard and why understand that greatness has a price, and that price is often paid in isolation. Discipline becomes your only friend. Consistency becomes your voice. Every day becomes a fight against comfort. You start realizing that while others chase attention, you're building foundations. While they seek full NDTR hours, you're developing mastery. The quiet becomes your fuel. You start hearing your own thoughts clearly, and for the first time, you stop needing external approval to feel alive. That's when you begin to control your mind, and once you control your mind, no one can control you. People will call you distant. They will call you obsessed. They will say you've changed and they'll be right. Because isolation changes you. It hardens your focus, sharpens your purpose, and burns away every distraction that once slowed you down. You no longer chase what's easy, because easy never made you powerful. You crave the challenge. You crave the grind. You crave the victory that only comes from walking through fire alone. Every rejection you face becomes redirection. Every betrayal becomes education. You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as progress. The mind that learns to fight alone becomes bulletproof. The heart that learns to stay strong in silence becomes unbreakable. You don't need noise anymore. You don't need praise. You just need one thing: momentum. And once you have that, the world has no defense against you. Winning alone teaches you that the world owes you nothing. It teaches you that success doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to execution. It doesn't care how tired you are, how lonely you feel, or how much you've already done. It only rewards consistency. That's why most fail. They seek comfort in company instead of power in solitude. They want to feel support, NTR TED, not sharpened. But the one who walks alone learns to turn pain into purpose, boredom into practice, and loneliness into strength. You must become dangerous not to others, but to your own weakness. You must reach a point where giving up feels impossible, where quitting feels like betrayal to you, and to you are our own soul. When you walk alone, there's no one to remind you why you started, so you have to remind yourself every single day. That's what builds dominance, the inner voice that refuses to die, even when no one else believes in you. And then one day, the world notices. The same people who doubted why to bar to you start asking how you did it. They see the results, but they never saw the isolation. They see the strength, but they never saw the struggle. They see the fire, but they never saw the ashes you rose from. That's why winning alone is so powerful, because it's pure. There's no luck, no help, no chance of PRE. It's earned in silence and displayed in victory. So if you find yourself walking alone today, don't panic. Don't run back to the crowd. Use it. Let it shape you. Let it break you, rebuild you, and prepare you. Because isolation is not your prison, it's your preparation. It's the sacred space where average dies and greatness is born. The strongest version of you will never be found in comfort, applause, or company. It will be found in the quiet moments when no one's watching, when no one believes, when no one cares, and you still rise. Because that's how warriors are made. That's how legends, A-R-A-R-D, built. That's how you win alone. You must learn to lead yourself before expecting the world to follow, because no army will march behind a general who cannot command his own mind. Leadership doesn't begin when others listen to you. It begins when you start listening to yourself, when you stop waiting for direction and start creating it. The greatest mistake people make is thinking influence comes from followers, applause, or recognition. True power begins in solitude, when you take full control of your own habits, thoughts, and emotions. Before you can lead a team, a business, or a nation, yours and you must conquer the battlefield within. The man who cannot lead himself will always be a slave to distraction, emotion, and weakness. To lead yourself means to become the master of your own actions. It means waking up even when no one is watching. It means staying disciplined even when no one reminds you. It means making decisions not based on comfort but on purpose. The one who leads himself doesn't wait for motivation, he moves with intention. He doesn't seek approval, he builds momentum. Because leadership isn't given, it's earned through the quiet victories that no one sees. The way you han and art and your mornings, your thoughts, your failures, your pain, these are the foundations of command. You can't inspire others to rise if you still bow to your excuses. You can't demand excellence from anyone if you haven't demanded it from yourself first. When you learn to lead yourself, you stop chasing TRD opinions and start chasing truth. You stop being driven by feelings and start being driven by vision. The world respects those who control themselves because discipline is the rarest form of strength. Anyone can talk about leadership, but few can practice it when no one's watching. The moment you master your impulses, your fears, and your distractions, you become powerful beyond measure. Because leadership is not about controlling others, it's about controlling your direction in the face of chaos. The man who knows where he is going doesn't need validation. His results speak louder than words. Leading yourself also means holding yourself accountable when things fall apart. You don't blame, you don't complain, you don't wait, you adjust, adapt, and advance. The world is full of people waiting for someone to lead them, but the rare few who take charge of their own lives create movements. The DRY don't ask for the path, they build it. They don't follow the crowd, they set the pace. And once you've proven to yourself that you can stand alone, the world begins to trust your direction. Because real leadership doesn't attract followers through words, it pulls them through action. Every day you key up, you are faced with two choices: follow your comfort or lead your purpose. The weak follow what feels easy, the strong follow what feels right. Leadership is forged in struggle, not in praise. When you face resistance, pain, or doubt, you have two options: surrender or lead yourself through it. Every great leader began as a person who refused to quit when it was easier to give up. They learned to push through fear, to organize their chaos, to stay focused when everything around them was noise. That's what separates the average from the unstoppable, the ability to lead themselves through STO or MS without waiting for rescue. You must also understand that leadership is not about perfection, it's about responsibility. You will make mistakes, you will fall, you will fail. But what defines your strength is how fast you get back up, how quickly you learn, how fiercely you continue. When you learn, add yourself. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes a weapon. You don't run from pressure, you perform under it. You don't break under failure, you build from it. That's what makes self-leadership sacred. It turns your struggle into structure and your pain into purpose. Those who cannot lead themselves often drift in circles, depending on others to push them forward. They become victims of circumstance, reacting to life instead of directing it. But the one who learns to lead himself becomes unstoppable, because his power doesn't depend on the environment, it comes from within. He do a trip in the art, yes, and to wait for the perfect moment, he creates it. He doesn't need a crowd to move, he moves first, and the crowd follows later. Self-leadership is the art of becoming your own commander, your own coach, your own motivator. When your inner voice is stronger than the world's noise, you become untouchable and blee. You must learn to lead yourself through failure, through fear, through doubt. That's when your leadership is tested the most, not when everything is working, but when everything is falling apart. In those moments, your discipline becomes your armor and your belief becomes your weapon. The mind, T to the art and hat, is led by purpose, never collapses under pressure. It adjusts, it strategizes, it endures. And as you grow stronger in leading yourself, you naturally begin to influence others not through force, but through example. People follow those who are consistent, those who stand firm when others fall. T. Burton Hose who live what they preach. Before the world gives you trust, you must earn it by proving you can trust yourself. Keep your promises, meet your standards, honor your word. Every small act of self-discipline adds up to unshakable credibility. Leadership is not built in crowds, it's built in moment and WRSTS of decision when you choose growth over comfort, vision over distraction, truth over ego. And once you learn to lead yourself, no failure can destroy you, no rejection can break you, no setback can stop you. Because you've already built the foundation inside the discipline, the direction, the GIRVE. The world doesn't follow noise. It follows clarity. It doesn't follow emotion, it follows example. Learn to lead yourself with clarity, courage, and conviction, and you won't have to beg for influence, it will find you. Because the strongest force on earth is a person who doesn't wait to be led, but chooses to lead themselves first. That's the real beginning of greatness, the moment. Your power turns inward, your focus turns forward, and your destiny begins to follow. Silence is not your enemy, it's your teacher, the invisible mentor that speaks only when the world goes quiet enough for you, Tibor, oh here, oh here. In silence, you meet the truth about who you really are. You can't hide behind noise, opinions, or distractions. You can't pretend to be busy or confident or happy. Silence strips away illusion and forces you to face yourself. That's why most people fear it. They are terrified of what they MIG-ADR-HHT find when the noise fades. But those who embrace silence, those who sit in it and learn from it, become unshakable, because silence teaches clarity, patience, control, and strength. It reveals the difference between movement and progress, between noise and purpose, between reaction and strategy. It turns your chaos into direction and your confusion into wisdom. In silence, your mind becomes your mirror. You start to hear your own thoughts clearly, and you begin to understand which ones serve you and which ones sabotage you. You see your habits for what they are, not what you tell yourself, part they are. You recognize your fears, your insecurities, your excuses, and for the first time, you stop running from them. You face them, study them, and conquer them. Silence is the place where self-awareness is born, and self-awareness is the foundation of all strength. The man who cannot face his own silence will always be at war with himself. But the one who can sit in stillness without needing escape learns to control his mind, and a controlled mind is an unstoppable weapon. The truth is, silence doesn't weaken you, it sharpens you. It trains your focus in a world built to distract you. It deveva the art elapse your patience in a culture obsessed with speed. It teaches you that not every reaction deserves energy and not every battle deserves engagement. In silence, you realize that your time and attention are sacred. You begin to see that power is not in speaking more, it's in saying less, but meaning farce and or. The strongest people don't talk endlessly about what they'll do. They move in silence and let results echo for them. Silence gives you composure. It gives you presence. It teaches you that calmness in chaos is not passivity, it's mastery. When you learn to be comfortable in silence, you become Debembert and Angerus, because you no longer need the validation of noise to feel alive. You don't need approval to move. You don't need applause to act. You don't need agreement to believe. You move with certainty, and certainty is magnetic. People are drawn to those who know themselves deeply, who don't panic when others shout, who don't crumble when others doubt. That level of calm doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from hours spent in silence, battling your own mind until it becomes your ally.